What happens when you tell lies? You get punished. And if you didn't get punished, would it be naughty to tell them? No. I'm going to tell you two stories. There were two kitties, and they broke a cup each. The first one says it wasn't him. His mother believes him and doesn't punish him. The second one also says it wasn't him, but his mother doesn't believe him and punishes him. Are both lies they told equally naughty? No? Which is the naughtiest, would you say? The one who was punished. Jean Piaget, the moral judgment of the child. So, what are the forms and types of excuses that exist? What is it, then, that can conflict with the requirement for truthfulness so as to make lies permissible at times? Say you are caught in a compromising lie. What excuses might you offer? What kinds of excuses? An excuse seeks to extenuate, sometimes to remove the blame entirely from something which would otherwise be a fault. It can seek to extenuate in three ways. First, it can suggest that what is seen as a fault is not really one. Secondly, it can suggest that although there has been a fault, the agent is not really blameworthy because he is not responsible. And finally, it can suggest that though there has been fault, and though the agent is responsible, he is not really to blame because he has good reasons to do as he did. A. Excuses of the first type may claim that the supposed lie is not really a lie, but a joke, perhaps, or an evasion, an exaggeration, a flight of fancy. Or else, such an excuse may argue that since it is impossible to give objective distinctions between truth and falsehood, the supposed lie cannot even be proved to be one. B. The second type of excuse holds that, though there may have been deception, the agent is not really or not completely responsible. The liar may claim he never meant to mislead, or was incompetent, perhaps drunk, or talking in his sleep, or coerced into deceiving, or else may take refuge in arguing that no one can ever be held responsible for lies, that free choice in that respect is a myth. Both these types of excuses obviously cover a vast territory and are in constant use by liars. But it is a third type, which will be the focus of attention later on. The type of excuse which is the most fundamental for the process of evaluating deliberate lies. In this third type of excuse, the liar admits the lie, accepts responsibility for it, but offers reasons to show that he should be partially or even wholly cleared of blame. All three kinds of excuses are often present in the same effort to extenuate any one lie. There are, of course, reasons for lying which are never offered as excuses at all and which cannot function as such. I lied to make you suffer may be a true explanation. It is not an excuse, for it is not offered to extenuate. I lie all the time and see nothing wrong in doing so is not an excuse either, for it sees nothing to excuse. C. The third type of excuse then offers moral reasoning for a lie, reasons to show that a lie ought, under the circumstances, to be allowed. People look for moral reasons when they are troubled or caught short, and generally when they need to persuade themselves or others that the usual presumption against lying is outweighed in their particular case. All the many reasons given to excuse lies can be grouped in a number of ways. We shall look at them from a point of view of the moral principle to which they appeal. These principles can be given many names, many forms. They must certainly never be thought of as having some abstract existence of their own. Rather, we use them to give support and structure to the moral reasons we give for our choices. I shall set forth the reasons most commonly used to defend lies as appealing to fourth parties, and four principles: that of avoiding harm, that of producing benefits, that of fairness, and that of veracity. Take the denial by a prime minister of the charge that his government helped to overthrow a neighboring regime. If the lie is discovered and he is pressed for reasons, what might he say? His answers cannot rely on claims that he was not really lying, or had not meant to lie, or that he lied under some coercion, rendering him incompetent. Should he be pressed to give extenuating reasons, they might well appeal to one of the four principles. The Prime Minister might give as a reason his desire to avoid through his lie some form of retaliation or international censure, some harm, in other words. Or he might argue that he had lied in order to give the new regime the legitimacy which might come from seeming to have overthrown the former government democratically. He would then claim that the lie was told in an attempt to achieve an overriding benefit. Alternatively, he might appeal to fairness, perhaps by claiming that, since everyone else lies under such circumstances, it would only be fair to excuse him for following standard procedure. Finally, he might argue that his lie served the cause of veracity and trustworthiness, or at least a semblance thereof, that he lied to uphold the confidence in his own government, confidence in the eyes of the world that his country abides by international rules, prohibiting such interference with other nations. Of the four principles, the first two, which concern harm and benefit, are the most frequently invoked. They represent the most immediate approach to choice. But as soon as there is a question how to allocate harm and benefit, then the right to accept, reject, or request these is at issue, and appeals to the principle of fairness or justice enter in. Veracity, finally, is indispensable to the proper functioning of the first three principles, to their having any force. It is, as we have pointed out earlier, the cornerstone of relationships amongst humans. To the degree that it erodes, to that degree is the confidence in the benefits, protection from harm, and fairness one has come to count upon made haphazard, undermined. These four principles are often invoked in a confused way. One may be invoked where a completely different one or none at all can serve, and they frequently intertwine and overlap. It may help, therefore, to try to set them explicitly, in looking at the profusion of excuses given for different lies. When we do, we find that conflicts arise among the four principles only in the context of concrete choices. To say that veracity and fairness may conflict is obscure, but to say that a lawyer is troubled about how to satisfy both when only a lie can protect an innocent client from jail is not. My friends, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain a little. Number one, it's free.
2, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you've ever been looking for to make a podcast in one place. Go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
All are but parts of one stupendous whole, whose body nature is, and God the soul, that changed through all, and yet in all the same. Great in the earth, as in the ethereal frame, warms in the sun, refreshes in the breeze, glows in the stars, and blossoms in the trees, lives through all life, extends through all extent, spreads undivided, operates unspent, breathes in our soul, informs in our mortal part, as full, as perfect, in a hair as heart, as full, as perfect, in vile man that mourns, as a rapt seraph that adores and burns. To him no high, no low, no great, no small. He fills, he bounds, connects, and equals all. By Pope, an essay on man.